Hello and welcome to The Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. I'm George Szamuely. With me today, of course, is co-founder of The Gaggle, Peter Lavelle, accompanied by his friend Skippy. And the time has come. This is it. The moment has arrived when we decide the fate of the world. The thumbs ups and thumbs downs. Who's for promotion? Who's for eternal oblivion? All right, I'll go first. My big thumbs down of the week is the increasing insanity that's prevailing in the United States over the subject of the cyber hacks, the ransomware. You know, we've had 4 years of attacks on Russia because Russia was interfering in our domestic affairs. They gave us Donald Trump, and they're interfering in Brexit. They're interfering in Germany. They're interfering in Montenegro. Wherever you look, Russia interfering. And suddenly that's all gone. And now we got the ransomware attacks, which again is all about Russia. And so we have the media that are openly baiting the Biden administration into taking tough action against Russia. So when Biden had this phone call with Putin on Friday, and they discussed this, and then the readout from the Kremlin was the Russians said, well, yeah, I mean, you know, we haven't actually had any specific inquiries from the United States side for the past month. So they keep going on and on about all these issues they have, but they haven't addressed any specific inquiries. And then you have the Americans saying, well, if Russia doesn't come through, you know, we're going to do such things, you know, what they are, we know not, but they will be the terror of the earth, to quote Shakespeare. And then the New York Times is ratcheting this up and saying that when is Biden going to really launch his new war on terror and against Russia? I think it is absolutely irresponsible and reckless talking about things that they know nothing about and which could lead to absolutely disastrous consequences.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, since no evidence has been provided at all to back up this point, and it's very difficult to do. That's the nature of this kind of criminal behavior. But don't you think there are guys in their basements all over the world saying, "Let's do it"? They're just going to blame the Russians, okay? Why not? They're not even going to look our way.
That's right.
They're just aiding and abetting it, okay? They're aiding, and of course, George, you insightfully pointed out last time we talked about this subject. There's plenty. Like, go through the pages of the New York Times and the Washington Post and Wall Street Journal. You need cybersecurity right next to a story about Russian hacking, okay? This is a great way, I mean, are you worried about cybersecurity? Are you worried about the Ruskies? Okay, yeah. Come to us. Here's the number. It's an 800 number. Call us anytime, okay? First 500 people call, get a discount.
Yep, exactly.
This is it. This is exactly it. They're not going to ever look. And plus, this is, you have to wonder, Joe, in the back of your mind, if you can find it, do you ever have an inkling to call Trump and say, I know what you felt when you were in office, okay? I mean, this is shadow boxing. What do you do? I mean, there's no evidence here. So you have a choice between being considered a coward or start a war. I mean, that is not nuance, George. That is not a nuanced position to have, okay?
No, not at all, not at all. And so instead of what they had agreed upon in Geneva is that they're going to work together to deal with this mutual cybersecurity problem. It's all about Russia's to blame. Russia is doing nothing at all to curb the cyber hacking gangs who are all resident in Russia. In the first place, no one knows whether they are resident in Russia. I don't think you can determine that. And even if they were, I don't know that it's that easy to do. I mean, where the hell are they? I mean, I think this hacking is something that is very easy to do, and it's very easy to conceal your location. Yes.
Well, it also, I mean, isn't it really odd? My sense is that countries that are hacked usually stay mum about it because that's an easier way to start determining what happened. Folks, Russia's being hacked every single day. Take my word on that, okay? That's the nature of the business here. But what they do is they don't really publicize it. Well, first of all, no country wants to admit they're being a victim of a cyber attack. And number two, why give it away? I mean, it's something that you do clandestinely, and deal with it that way. In the United States, it's almost like a badge of honor. The RNC got hacked. Oh, it didn't get hacked, did it? Okay.
That's right.
Who the hell? Who would want to hack the RNC?
Exactly.
How many times are they going to say deregulation and tax cuts in the next campaign?
That's right. Yeah. This is what we're going to be doing.
Okay, and how much Frank Luntz earns from Kevin McCarthy staying in an apartment?
Yeah.
Righty. Hit my first thumbs down. Biden essentially is, in a very bizarre way, said mission accomplished with Afghanistan.
Right.
Very, very weird. But then again, the whole thinking around Afghanistan has been wrong-footed and wrong-headed from the very, very beginning. The problem is that, the Washington foreign policy blob will argue all they want until we're all blue in the face about should we leave, should we stay, how should we leave, and how should we stay, how we should return, how we should not return, this garbage, Right. How about doing one simple thing? Why did you get into the mess in the first place? Okay, is there any lesson to learn? None. Look at the discourse. No forensic review of what happened here. No. Oh, and you heard those things about Afghan papers. Don't read them. Okay, let CNN interpret it for you. Okay, all right. I mean, what I find very frustrating is not only this 20-year tragedy, but there's no reflection upon how to avoid something because if you don't reflect upon it, it's going to happen again. And it gives room, I would say considerable room, for those who say, gotta go back in, go back in.
That's right. That's what's going to happen. And remember, I mean, Biden says a mission accomplished. Okay, we killed bin Laden, but that was in 2011. So what the hell has the United States been doing for 10 years? No one really knows. I mean, they just decided to just stay on.
What was he doing in Pakistan?
Yeah, and remember, this was Obama. Obama, who ran in 2008, who on the basis that Iraq is a terrible thing. We should never have gone into stupid war. But he combined that with the claim, when Afghanistan, that's a smart war. That's the war we need to focus on. So Obama, was the one who said, no, we want to really focus on this war. Well, what the hell did that achieve? Absolutely nothing. I mean, what was the goal? To turn Afghanistan into some kind of a pro-American satellite state? What kind of a stupid idea is that? These are people that the Soviets didn't get anywhere with them. So now they're going to become, a pro-American. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. But you're absolutely right. I mean, it's like, where's the next intervention? Haiti. Let's go to Haiti. Let's go to Ethiopia. There is no one has learned anything.
Right. You're up.
Next up is the Hunter Biden, who is apparently having an exhibition opening very shortly.
Real Picasso, isn't he?
Yes, exactly. And apparently some of his works will be fetching $500,000 a piece, which is the kind of prices that Picasso or Matisse fetch. The White House had the insolence to say, well, we have come up with a plan to address any ethical concerns that donors will be mandated to maintain their anonymity. So no one will know their identity. Who the hell is going to believe that these people are going to pay $500,000 and they're not going to then pick up a phone to Hunter and say, hey, Hunter, that was me, who paid $500,000 for that piece of shit that you created, or call the White House and say the same thing. It's ridiculous. The idea that if you have anonymity, you somehow you alleviate any ethical concerns. The only way you can do it is, if you have transparency. But of course, if you had transparency, people say, hey, these are people who have business before the government, and they're giving Hunter Biden $500,000 for a piece of
Or you got finish your analogy there. They call up Hunter and say, I just paid $500,000 for your painting. Oh, by the way, since I got you on the phone.
Right. Yes, right.
Oh, by the way.
I mean, does anyone really believe that these anonymous donors will stay anonymous? No, the only reason they're paying this kind of money is that they're not going to be anonymous. They're going to let the people that they want to know about it, then they're going to let them know about it. I mean, that's the whole point. Who else would pay $500,000 for this kind of what a first-time quote artist unquote? So,
well, and then also you could have a buyer and then they're not satisfied with the notoriety that they get being close to the Biden family. And then they turn around and say, I'm used to concierge service from the Biden family. Okay, this is all I get, a little bit of parchment. I don't get to sleep in the Lincoln bedroom or cut a deal in Afghanistan after we leave. I mean, come on, man.
Oh, man, you have to admire Hunter then. I mean, Hunter, he was collecting, what is it, $1 million a year from Ukraine, knowing nothing about energy, knowing none of the languages, not even actually going to Ukraine. He didn't even visit Ukraine in any of that time. And now he's going to be picking up even better. I mean, he's obviously going to be making even more money as an artist. I mean, this guy is a master of grift.
Yeah, and does the big guy get 50%?
Well, I imagine he would be, yes. I mean, the big guy lives very well. I mean, he's been a senator all his life. Senators don't make that much money, but he lives on a very, very lavish scale.
Yeah, wow. The big guy wins again. Okay. I could say something, but it would be harsh. Okay. Yeah. I'm up here. Very, very disappointed, but totally expected that virtually not a single soul in media has come into solidarity with Tucker Carlson with the story of the NSA perusing his emails. We don't have all of the details, so George and I, as usual, are going to be very careful here. But there's definitely substance to Tucker's story, and it just shows how the media has been cowed and actually is in service of the intel community. Everyone is afraid. Right. And so kudos to Tucker for he didn't have to. He didn't have to do that at all. Okay. He could have kept his head down. And so kudos to him, and shame on the rest of them. Shame on you. Okay.
Exactly. And instead, what they've done is they've made Tucker the story. Oh, well, Tucker's just paranoid. He's just coming up with all this nonsense just to put himself at the center of things, ignoring the fact that, we've had all the lies about the NSA. You remember from Clapper, who denied about the bulk collection. We all the lies about the CIA spying on the senators, the Senate committee that was investigating CIA torture. All the lies about that. Oh, well, they weren't spying on the Trump campaign, and everyone repeated that. All that we found out. And so after all that, they're still saying, "Oh no, of course there's no truth there. The NSA, they're just absolutely, integrity. They don't spy on anyone. Well, no, of course, Tucker Carlson is just, that's just him. He's just paranoid."
And what does he want to talk to the Russians for anyway?
Exactly. So he deserved it. Just like, when they couldn't deny the Carter Page, that they were eavesdropping on Carter Page. Well, he deserved it. He was going to Russia and delivering public lectures in Russia. So he deserved it.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah. So then my next is the, something we've talked about before, is that this indefinite detention of the January the 6th defendants is just continuing. And, there was a few months ago, remember we were talking about judges who were asking for a 30-day continuance, or judges were at least signing off on a 30-day continuance or 60-day continuance. But now there doesn't seem to be any plans at all for any trials anytime in the near future. And the idea of people who are without any criminal record, people who are not actually being charged with any violent offenses, keeping them in detention, and they've not been convicted of anything, it's a complete outrage. It violates every human rights document that the United States has signed, and is holding others. So, well, you signed the UN Declaration of Human Rights. Yeah. But you signed as well, and all of these things like expeditious trial, that it's in there. There it is, and that you can't just hold people in indefinite detention. Not to mention the fact that they're being held in solitary confinement, which is basically torture. I mean, it leads to nervous breakdowns and so on. And yet it's happened, and the judges. I mean, I don't even know what the purpose of having judges anyway. And they just sign off on it. Prosecutors say, oh, this person is very dangerous because he doesn't accept the November the 3rd election results. He doesn't accept the November the 3rd election results. Put him in.
Throw away the key.
Keep him
there. Throw away the key.
Exactly.
Three words. Rules-based order. That's what it is. This is the interpretation of their rules-based order, okay? They make the rules, okay? And it's their order, okay? This is unconscionable. I mean, how can you go on your little tour about autocracy versus democracy when you have, 400, 500 of your own citizens having no legal recourse whatsoever? I mean, George, some of these people may die in detention.
I think so. I mean, it's people come
in there. I mean, a lot of them are boomers. Okay.
Yeah. That's right. And in many ways, I mean, these are all people who have thought of themselves as being very patriotic. Very pro-American. These aren't sort of hardened, leftists who've been fighting. We're fighting
Weather Underground.
Yeah, fighting the man. Yeah, but these are people. Many of them are vets. In other words, they actually serve in uniform for their country. And this is the way they're treated. And I imagine that would have serious mental effects on them. I mean, that's why I
think it will also have a very strong ripple effect, relatives and friends. Okay, right. This isn't going to be isolated. See, the irony is that the left wants this to be indelibly stamped into our body politic. You know what? Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Very true. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
This is just a little one. I'm not expecting you to know a lot about it. I just know a little bit about it. This vanity project, Branson versus Bezos going into space. I just find it really, really pathetic. Really pathetic. Okay. Mine's bigger than yours, type thing. Okay. It's really kind of childish. It shows the lack of any kind of values from our ruling class at all. The world is going to hell in a handbasket, and I want to have a front row seat to see the sunset from space or something like that. I find it really kind of pathetic, and it also tells you, when you have in Congress giving exemptions and tax cuts and all to Bezos to get into space at the expense of NASA. Not that, I'm a huge fan of NASA. There are some things they do I really do like, okay? Other things I think are questionable. But I mean, it really shows the outsourcing of our technology. It's going to be rich individuals that will decide. Oh, and Bill Gates will decide if we block the sun. I mean, who elected him to block the sun? I think the only reason I brought up this story, I think it's exemplary of the decadence of our ruling class.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I mean, these are people who are absolutely insane megalomaniacs. And again, you get all these figures on the right who are always celebrating capitalism and corporatism. Oh, these are successful entrepreneurs. These people are a menace. They're an absolute menace for the whole mankind. I mean, not just for their countries, just mankind as a whole, because they have their wealth is just so fabulous. So yeah. Absolutely.
Do they pay taxes?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Bezos, he's for infrastructure as long as they build roads for his trucks. Okay.
Yeah.
in his careers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really am loath to quote Barack Hussein Obama, but you didn't build that. You got a lot of tax cuts. You were destined to succeed, okay? Because government chose you as a winner.
Right.
Remember that. They chose you. They chose Zuckerberg. They chose Twitter. They chose Facebook. They chose Google.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's right. They really are the worst people. That's very good. So my next thumbs down is that today, later on this evening, the Euro final is going to take place between England and Italy, and of course, all the supposed writers on sport are actually all writing about politics and are declaring how they really are supporting England, because England, of course, have famously done the whole taking the knee to Black Lives Matter before every match. And there was a column, I think today, by someone called Musa Okwanga. He's described as a poet. So I don't know. I don't read much poetry. So and his one was, oh, this is the real England, not, that, when England win, I'm going to be rooting for this because these are all political activists, they're not just athletes, they're, fighting for what they believe. They believe in equality and justice and so on. So what occurs to me is that people who do this, and there's an awful lot of writing along those lines, is they always assume that political activism is going to be in favor of the kinds of things that they like, which is endlessly racist, whatever. Well, what if others started taking, the political issues that interested them? Now, I can imagine a Russian team will say, will be protesting the treatment of Russians in Ukraine, or the treatment of Russians in the Baltic states. You might have Hungarians who are complaining about Hungarian minorities in Romania. You've got a Serb like Novak Djokovic might say, Kosovo is Serbia, and then so on. You can imagine other people have other political agendas. So what's going to happen then? What if the Chinese athletes will say enough with Xinjiang? We support the Chinese Communist Party. The North Korean athletes, say we want to have a bomb. What's the attitude going to be then? We say, well, maybe athletes should spend less time talking about politics and more time playing sport.
You think? Well, my cynicism goes even further. Look at the players on the Italian team and on the English team. What is their average salary?
Huge. These are.
Oh, I bet they would do jumping jacks nude. Okay. If that's what it took to get their payday. No, I'm sorry. This is so farcical. It's just theater. At the end of the day, they want their payday, and right. if to get your payday you have to do this, then they're going to do it. Again, the cynicism of our ruling classes. Okay, this right. is all virtue signaling. It right. is so narrow. It is so narrow what this discourse is right. about. It's about people on some social media, on Twitter, and the rest of people is like, are they done with the knee things? I want to watch the game.
That's it. Well, that's it. I mean, they make a huge amount of money. They don't contribute a penny of that for all these issues of equality and justice. I mean, how much are they contributing to, let's say, other people in their sport, just to make sure? Let's say you're a footballer right at the top of your game. There are many footballers who are making very little money. Do they, put some of it back to get better training, better coaches for people who are not doing so well? No, of course not. They just pocket the whole bloody lot. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's let somebody else cough up the money for whatever my favorite cause is. And of course, their favorite cause is the New York Times cause, which is racism. There's no other issue in the world.
And what I think is that, just get along by going along. Okay, this will pass, and I'll still get my paycheck. Okay, the owners and the advertisers, the players, that doesn't change, George. Right. Okay, it's just that poets seem to get really excited. Okay, talking about is he a poet of sports?
He said to be a poet.
Just an interloper. Okay. farcical. Okay,
Right.
our professional managerial class strikes again.
That's it.
Okay, George, I think you're going to be shocked by this. Did you know that Nancy Pelosi is a financial genius? Did you hear that?
I did not know that. I know she's very wealthy, but I don't think you have to be.
Did you know, George, that members of Congress do 20% better on the stock market than the banks do, than the hedge funds do? You know, I've been saying they're a bunch of fools for years. I had no idea that they were financial wizards, okay?
Yeah.
I wonder how that happened, George. They just, members of, what is it about the body of Congress? It's a magnet pulling in these financial gurus, okay? No, it's called corruption.
Yeah. No, but in her case, I mean, these issues have come up before. That she knows about impending legislation. Boom! You know, her husband makes a nice little trade, and they make a load of money. It's amazing that they get away with this. This is obviously insider trading, but they've been getting away with it. Well, I mean, they're the legislators; they can pretty much do what they like. But it's clearly insider trading.
Well, there's a caveat here. Is it, and this is what is really irksome, is it legal insider trading? I know that's a contradiction, but the way the laws are written out, yeah, that's the problem here. Okay, a lot of it could just be simply legal, but obviously, if you're in a position of power to benefit from foreign knowledge, not necessarily inside, but foreign knowledge of something, intuitively, every person would say, yeah, that's wrong. But the way they do it, again, you know, it's hard to prove. Okay, however, again, if you take the quote unquote best minds on Wall Street and compare it to the mediocre minds of Congress, and the Congress does better than Wall Street, there's something wrong there.
I think so. Now, I guess in the case of Pelosi, the issue is that this is her husband.
And I'm just looking at all you know, members of Congress, and I'm looking at Republican,
for instance,
Democrat.
Richard Burr got himself into trouble because it was him. He made the sudden sale in the aftermath of an
chintzy.
Yeah, but even he, you know, Congress kind of investigated and, you know, basically let him go, you know, let him ride. Even though it was clearly, I mean, like facially, it was obviously insider trading. And I think there's an awful lot of that in Congress.
Oh, I do too.
But that's a good question. I mean, you know, where is the you know, you say it's legal. I don't know, but I don't see too much department investigation in all of this. I mean, because in her case, this has come up before. I mean, I remember it was on CBS. It was already some years ago. I don't remember the details, but it was one of their guys on 60 Minutes actually probed her on a specific issue that, hey, your husband made a very nice sale just before a big piece of legislation was coming out. Oh no, you know, entirely coincidental. So, you know, it's a very sleazy operation.
Yeah, and people wonder why there's so little faith in public institutions. Right. I mean, people use these institutions to go to the bank, okay? Right. There's just really no nobility. I mean, in the case of Burr, I mean, this guy is so chintzy that he wouldn't go through a broker because the broker would have to take a percent. This is how chintzy these people are. Right. I'm just gonna do it myself. And then you buffoon, you know, you have to give your phone, a sitting member of Congress has to give his phone to the FBI. You buffoon.
That's right.
You greedy buffoon.
But what I don't understand is that I thought that they put in all these reforms back, you know, in the 70s and whatever.
It's called the Stocks Act. Literally, Stock Act.
And I thought that was the whole point. You know, you're in Congress. Basically, all you get is your salary. That's it. You don't, you know, if you have an investment.
Well, in a blind trust.
It's put in a blind trust. I that's what I always assumed was the norm, but apparently not.
It's not so blind.
No, it definitely isn't.
You got sticky fingers and you got an open eye.
So yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So then the next thing is, you know, there was an interview today in the New York Times with Bernie Sanders. It was interviewed by Maureen Dowd, and I have to say, it was a very disappointing interview. I mean, Sanders just seems to be a very one-dimensional politician. I mean, he has only one idea. Let's spend as much money as we can, as quickly as we can, on whatever is going. Whether it's let's preschool, childcare, school, universities. Let's just shovel as much infrastructure, just shovel it all as much. So, in all this time, because he said, oh, Trump is a charlatan, a fraud, and whatever. But I want to reach out to the Trump voters. They're really, they're people who basically support us. But the point that Trump raised was, first of all, you got to address the production problem. And the distribution problem, that's very easy. I mean, if you just want to spend as much money as you can on whatever is going, that's easy. The hard part is how you can actually earn the money that you're going to then spend. And then the other problem is the immigration issue, which is how the hell are you going to have good jobs for Americans if you basically have the whole world is going to come through your open door? I mean, he doesn't address
Bernie
this. You're going.
But Bernie had a very sensible immigration policy before the 2016 election. Way back when.
Yeah, way back when. Yeah, that's right. But he didn't. Then he abandoned that, and that's it. And of course, unless you have a tight labor market, then there is no way in the world you're going to keep wages high.
Even Buddy knows.
Yeah,
even Buddy knows that.
Of course he does. Everyone and his uncle is going to want to come into the country. So I thought that it just seems like this one-dimensional figure. And really, the shtick is rather tiresome by now.
My only thumbs up of the week is Glenn Greenwald. Probably not for the first time. He has his own channel on YouTube. It's called System Upgrade. So just go into Glenn Greenwald, and he did this amazing analysis of liberal discourse and how they smear their own, okay, or people. I mean, people that pretend to be liberal that are actually neocons and basically people that use slurs and deceptive language to protect the establishment. It's a really good video, and it shows the low level of intelligence how some people interpret that video. And he's proving his point by the criticism of his own video by liberals. Okay, it's extraordinary. Right. I encourage everyone to take a look at it. It is one of the best things I've watched in a very long time. He speaks extremely well. And one of the things I like about Glenn Greenwald, he never wastes his words, okay? He's right to the point. So kudos to him. It's something we all can learn from. And actually, it's almost kind of like he helps people decipher political language. And it's a tool. And he shows you how it works. He gives you many examples to show what he's talking about. So it's very pedagogical as well. So I encourage everyone to go over there and take a look at it.
What's it called again? Just for me and for the audience. What's the name?
Well, the channel is called System Upgrade. Okay, it'll have just put in Glenn Greenwald, you'll come up with his channel. Okay, but it's really, how did he get into this? It's the TYT Jimmy Dore feud, and his video is not about the feud. He shows how political language is being manipulated within the context of that feud. You can do it with so many other things. Because that's top of mind, and a lot of people in the
I think it's a very good point. And of course, that the attacks on him tend to confirm his thesis. In other words, most of the attacks on him are invariably personal smears. They're saying, "Oh, you appear on Tucker Carlson's show, so you're a fascist. You support the KKK." That's about the level of these persons. You've attacked the Russiagate, so you must be Putin's agent. And then it just goes by dint of repetition. Oh, Glenn Greenwald, Putin agent, Russian traitor. And that's it. And so it's all just smearing, never any attempt to address any of his issues. And so, the amazing thing is, everybody can be criticized. But whenever I see the criticisms of Glenn Greenwald, well, this is the start. I've seen on the website. This is the first of a 6-part expose of Glenn Greenwald. And I start reading and think, You haven't laid a glove on him. Not one thing that you have said is in any way damaging to Greenwald. So it's like, amazing. All these attacks on him are just completely beside the point. Not one of them has actually managed to land a blow on him.
It was many years ago. It was after he left the UK, after his when his dealings with the Guardian and dealing with WikiLeaks, and then when the police came in and smashed up all the hard drives,
Right.
Glenn Greenwald left, and there was a BBC interview with him, and he absolutely demolishes the interviewer. I mean, it was a slam dunk. I mean, you almost felt like, wow, that for the interviewer felt that hurt. Okay. That's why no one challenges him.
Right.
You watch that video, you know that he's always ready. Okay.
Yeah.
He's always ready. Yeah. And the fact that he does go on Tucker Carlson says a lot about Glenn, and it says a lot about Tucker, I think. Okay. Because they're very, very different in their outlooks. Okay. Jimmy Dore, from what we understand, actually converted Tucker to supporting Julian Assange. Okay, I think I got the causality right here. But see, that's the importance where you have people that nominally are very, very different and can come together over the best of things. Because remember, everyone, there is bipartisanship. It's always for the worst things, okay, not for good things.
Right. No, I think so, and I think that just going back to the point that I was making earlier, why Bernie Sanders is just so pathetic, is that he didn't raise any of the issues that he could have raised. I mean, how about the big tech? The censorship and the control of our lives of a big tech. I mean, he made the customary thing. Zuckerberg, he's a billionaire, and he's got how many cars and so on. But that's about the measure of it. I don't care that much about how many cars or planes or whatever Zuckerberg has. But it's the poison of Zuckerberg and Dorsey and the Amazon Bezos. That's what the issue is. Bezos. He doesn't address that. He doesn't address the national security state and the grip that it has on the body politic. So it's like that's what I mean. But Sanders could have said, "Hey, let's actually address something that does unite left and right, or these are issues that do unite left and right." He fails it, and it's back to again how many trillions can be spent tomorrow, and that's all. But your point is exactly right. That there you have some kind of a meeting point between left and right, and he's not really a part of that.
You have a media class, a political class, and a investment commercial class. They all participate in the same thing: Nerf punching. It's all Nerf balls, okay? And it's all for show. And it's just, I held them to account. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Okay, you just wasted an hour of my life that I will never get back.
That's it. I'm going to go one more, but it's something that we've already talked about this week, so I won't say that much about it. The issue of the mandatory vaccinations, or at least the pressure that people are putting on the unvaccinated. I think it's deeply troubling, because you're kind of creating ostracism, social hostility, which could then lead ultimately to violence against the people who are really malevolent. Whereas, of course, if you don't get vaccinated, okay, that's your problem. You're not a problem for those who are vaccinated. And if you're vaccinated, that means you already have immunity. So for the vaccinated to really drive this kind of hostility, hatred for the unvaccinated, I think is very dangerous and really stupid. And I think what may happen is, if there is, again, whether it's the Delta variant or the Indian variant or whatever, in the fall, there's again a spike in COVID cases, all the blame will attach to the unvaccinated. And at that point, if they again say, well, we're going to have lockdowns, then they say, who's to blame for the lockdowns? The unvaccinated. They are the people you should hate, and they are the people that you should take out your anger on. So I think it's a very unpleasant and very dangerous game that the media in particular are playing.
But this is part and parcel of what we've seen with this mindset. You must be converted.
Yep.
You take the cross, or I'll give you the sword. I mean, we've done this over and over and over again.
Right.
Okay,
yeah.
You're absolutely right. If you're vaccinated, why the hell should you give a hoot?
That's right.
I'm safe. I'm going to be fine.
It's his problem. He's not vaccinated. That's it. Tough. I mean, so it doesn't affect you because you have immunity. That's the whole point of getting the vaccine. And if it doesn't give you immunity, then why have we been sold a bill of goods to take the vaccine if it doesn't give us immunity?
If anything, you should take pity.
Right.
Okay, that's it. You shouldn't be hostile. You should take pity if you so fervently believe in it. Okay,
Right.
and what happened to herd immunity? I mean,
Right.
I'm not an expert in these things, but they talked about we need herd immunity. Do you ever hear that anymore?
Yeah, that's right.
No.
It's
Again, this is what again. We see this so many times with so many different stories. They change they move the goalposts, they change the narrative. It's always a progression,
Right.
isn't it? With all of these things.
Right.
Okay, and that's why you have to. I have to say, you have to come and watch people like us because we see the differences. We see how people use words. Okay.
Right.
And at a distance, they're all tying themselves up into pretzels. But what it is they add a layer. It's really what it is. It's Fauciism. Okay, because that's what they do. It's always
exactly
changing the rules of the game.
And it tends to confirm what the darkest conspiracy theories had suspected, which was that there are powerful interests that don't want these lockdowns ever to come to an end. And they're looking for the next excuse to keep lockdowns in place, to keep restrictions on people's social interactions in place. And so they're already thinking about, well, what's the next thing? Oh yeah, the unvaccinated. The unvaccinated are a danger to everyone, the whole world. Unless every single person in the world is vaccinated, we are all in danger. I mean, that seems to be now the new theory.
If they actually cared about public health, then maybe there should be a war on diabetes and there should be a war on heart disease. Okay, I mean, it seems simple to me. If you're really worried about people's health, what you want to do?
Far more dangerous.
They're not
everything you just said.
Nothing to do with health.
Yeah, all of it: diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure. I mean, all of those are actually far more menacing to the public than COVID.
Again, this is what you get when you have the professional managerial class. This is Pete Buttigieg incarnate. Right. Okay, this is the McKinseyization of the world. Okay, right. And these people are simply grossly incompetent.
Yeah.
I'm done.
So where can we be found, Peter?
Okay, we're on Locals. We're having a lot of fun there. Go to thegaggle.locals.com. George and I are picking up our pace and doing one-on-one interviews with gagglers via Zoom. Please keep in mind the time differences, okay? And there's that famous, infamous tip jar that Buddy covets every single waking moment of the day, and so does George. But please, it seems like to joke about it. But if there's anything you can do to help us out, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, Skippy seems to be wanting his dibs on that tip jar as well. So a new mug has appeared.
Yeah, he's been. The store is coming, or hopefully it's going to be within the week. George and I are going to be looking at some of the designs. Okay, so we hope to have that up very shortly.
Soon. Yeah, absolutely.
Buddy will be prominently profiled. You'll like it, okay? And once the store is up, feedback obviously would be helpful. Okay,
absolutely. And any help that you can offer was mostly appreciated. And the more help we get, the better our product. So keep. Anyway, we're also on Rumble. Look us up on Rumble. And remember, if you like The Gaggle, please like, share, and subscribe. See you soon. Bye.